Everywhere you look around, there's a logo connected to a company, whether big or small. And today, we are going to get into the origins of Glock. Gaston Glock was born on July 19, 1929 in Vienna, Austria, and is an Austrian engineer and founder of the company Glock, who is best known for developing the Glock pistol in 1981. His father worked on the railways and his mother had a job with the tram service. After school, Glock joined a car radiator factory, rising to operations manager as he saved up to buy a home with Helga, a German secretary from a prosperous family in Bavaria, Germany, whom he had met while on a holiday vacation in Velden in 1958. He had eyes only for me, she would later recall. The couple married in 1962, and Glock launched his own metalworks factory, which initially made curtain rails and then widened to include knives, machine gun belt links, and plastic casings for grenades for the Austrian military. Progress was steady for the couple and their three young children, Bridget, Gaston Jr., and Robert, but became meteoric after he chatted with two Austrian Army colonials at a dinner party in 1980. Glock eavesdropped as they discussed the urgent need for a new handgun to replace the antiquated revolver used for troops. They scoffed when Glock interrupted to say he could help, but eventually agreed to join him for dinner where, after a schnitzel cooked by Helga, the colonials sketched out the design on a napkin of the gun they wanted. Glock set to work, producing a plastic, molded weapon that was lighter, more reliable, and capable of holding more bullets. The Glock semi-automatic pistol took the world by storm and within a decade had become the favorite sidearm for N.A.T.O, the F.B.I, most of the U.S. police force, and gun-toting gangsters. Since 1982, more than 5 million have been sold, almost a third in the U.S., bringing its maker an estimated $1.8 billion fortune. With business booming, the Glock family moved from their home on the outskirts of Vienna to a stunning mansion overlooking Lake Wörthersee in southern Austria. Glock also began spending more time in America, where his family would sometimes accompany him to the annual SHOT, which stood for Shooting, Hunting, Outdoor Trade show in Las Vegas that his firm sponsored. They knew nothing, however, of the Gold Club in Atlanta, an exclusive strip joint where Glock executives allegedly entertained police gun procurement officials. Glock rubbished such corruption claims as fantasies dreamt up by disgruntled former employees. The firearm entered Austrian military and police service by 1982 after it was a top performer in reliability and safety tests. The original Glock 17, the model adopted by the Austrian Army, contained only 36 parts and could hold 17 bullets in its magazine. It didn't have an external safety like other semi-automatic handguns. It also didn't have a decocking mechanism. The result, a lightweight interchangeable model that could be dropped, submerged, and subjected to temperature extremes and still accurately fire. In 1980, Glock purchased a new machine for molding polymer handles and sheets, but he believed he could do more with it. He had not made a firearm up until that point, but after 1 year of practice, he applied to patent the 9mm Glock 17, his 17th patent. The handgun proved a great commercial success, and Glock was on velvet financially. Gaston designed a Glock 17 in his garage outside Vienna in the early 1980s. Soon it was a global bestseller. Alarmed by aspects of the pistol's revolutionary polymer design, including the lack of a conventional safety mechanism, Congress held hearings on the Glock in 1986, and New York City banned it. Yet the Glock remains by far America's most popular pistol, carried by 2/3 of police officers, immortalized by hip-hop and Hollywood, and wielded by the perpetrators of the Virginia Tech, Tucson, Aurora, and Charleston massacres. Glock didn't like the handguns available on the market and decided to manufacture a new gun from scratch. Before stating, he asked gun experts in his native Austria what could be done to improve a handgun for the modern era. They said, a gun with much larger ammunition capacity, a gun that is much more durable and reliable, and the gun should be easy to fire and easy to learn how to use. He integrated all of those elements into the Glock, and that's how he won his original contract with the Austrian army. By the 1990s, Gaston Glock was a billionaire and had hired New Jersey attorney and gun rights activist Paul Januzzo to help combat a rash of claims by shooting victims. Januzzo, who eventually became the CEO of the U.S. subsidiary, convinced Glock to donate $1 to the American Shooting Sports Council for each gun shipped from SEMA. But ties between Januzzo and Gaston Glock began to fray over a rivalry for the company's young human resources manager. Januzzo was convicted in 2012 of diverting profits into his own bank accounts. An appeals court later found the statute of limitations had expired and overturned the verdict. In 1988, the Glock made its way to the United States. It was perfect timing, coinciding with the rise of the American drug trade, when many cops were feeling outmanned by gangs on the street. The Glock's large capacity and light body gave it advantages over other guns. Police departments were amazed when they took their officers out to the range and found out not only could they learn to use a Glock pretty quickly, but the Glocks also made them more accurate as marksmen. And that's in part because it has a very light, very steady trigger pull. Critics of the guns say the trigger pull is so light that it makes accidental discharges so likely. But the Glock always has had that dual nature to it. The advantages can be reframed as disadvantages. One early advantage for police departments was that Glock gave them large discounts when purchasing the gun for their departments. This was smart because the point was to get the police departments to adopt the gun, and that would give the gun credibility in the much larger, much more lucrative civilian market, where you can charge full price and get your full profit margin. Another strategy was to get the Glock screen time in Hollywood. In 1990, the Glock began to appear in the hands of police officers in Law & Order and other police shows. It was also used by Bruce Willis in the movie Die Hard 2. Willis' character gave a long speech on the advantages of using a Glock. That publicity helped the Glock, as did its frequent mention in rap lyrics. The Glock was adopted early on by some of the biggest names, some being Tupac and Dr. Dre. As soon as it appeared here, they began to embrace it for its dark, futuristic side. The fact that it looked tough, had a large magazine capacity, and not incidentally, the fact that it rhymed so well with words, who might want to use it in rap lyrics. Within the space of a few years, you not only had the Glock showing up in the lyrics, you had song titles with the name in it and people changing their stage names to incorporate Glock into them. In 1991, the first Glock shooting spree took place in Texas. 20 people were killed. Hours after the shooting, members of Congress were debating whether guns like the Glock should be restricted. It took a while, but by 1994, a bill was passed. This is what we remember as the Assault Weapons Bill, and was signed into law by President Clinton. It had a variety of restrictions. One of them was limiting the pistol magazine capacity to 10 rounds. The legislation, which expired in 2004, was initially seen as a terrible blow to the Glock. But the company quickly found a way to use the ban on high-capacity magazines to their advantage. Glock had seen this bill coming for years and had been running the factory non-stop. 3 shifts a day, 7 days a week, building up the large capacity firearms and the large capacity magazines. When the law was enacted, it allowed for a loophole that grandfathered in pre-existing equipment before the ban went into effect. And Glock had this huge stockpile of the very equipment that many gun owners wanted to get because it was banned, and the value of that equipment skyrocketed. Glock also encouraged police departments to trade in their old equipment for newer, higher capacity weapons. The old equipment, which contained the higher capacity magazines manufactured before the ban, was then sold on the used gun market and found its way to the streets. Police departments were implicated in the proliferation of handguns all across the country, a fact that came to haunt the municipalities that a decade later tried suing the gun industry for flooding the streets with guns. Glock executives would pop up on television and say, "Who are you accusing of putting guns on the street? We've done business with the very business in the city that's suing us. It is their guns on the street." Glock's statement helped undercut those lawsuits. This process of always finding the exceptions, finding ways around efforts to restrict the Glock, became a trademark for the company. Right from the start, it helped the company, and it continues on through its entire history. Glock was smart enough to hire a genius salesman. This man, Carl Walter, was really a guru in finding out how to appeal to the police. Whether that meant offering them extremely attractive financial terms or hosting police procurement officers at a famous strip club in Atlanta, this was a guy who could make a deal with anybody and figure out how to sell the Glock. Glock didn't create the foundational polymer frame pistol just to see if it could be done. The company was already close to the Austrian Armed Forces when they announced it in the early 80s that they wanted a modern handgun to replace their obsolete Walther P38. The Austrian Armed Forces had several criteria for any handgun they would consider. Semi-automatic for starters, but also chambered for 9mm, able to fire 15,000 rounds without significant wear, and drop-proof at 2 meters. Gaston Glock was already an authority on polymers, but he needed outside help to earn the big military contract. He assembled a dream team of Europe's handgun experts to make a lightweight and economical weapon. It needed to have 3 internal safeties, a high-capacity magazine, and a simple design. The new Glock 17 was submitted to the Austrian Armed Forces in 1982. They compared it to 8 other handguns before adopting it as a P80, ordering 25,000 units. The Glock beat out 5 other established firearm manufacturers and drew out international attention. Our own armed forces, which in the early 80s sought to replace their M1911, asked about the Glock 17. Hoping to catch the biggest fish in the sea, Glock sent the US 4 sample handguns, but unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. The Beretta M9 became our military's new standard sidearm in 1986. That missed opportunity didn't slow Glock down. The company opened its US headquarters in Simea, Georgia, that same year, bolstered by Norway and Sweden's armed forces adoption of the Glock 17. The Glock 17 became a NATO classified sidearm, and within 5 years sold about 350,000 models worldwide. Most of those handguns wound up right here. Public ignorance about firearms did slow Glock down back when they first opened up shop in America. In 1986, the media reported that Libya wanted Glock 17s, which assigned evil to the handguns by association. Anti-gun lobbyists reasoned that the polymer frame pistol was perfect for terrorism because a metal detector couldn't detect it. They overlooked the fact that a Glock 17 contains about a pound of steel, and metal detectors go bonkers when you walk through one carrying pocket change. Fortunately, Congress was led to understand that a Glock 17 is no less undetectable than any other big chunk of metal before it enacted a gun ban. The most significant innovations of the past 30 years have all come from European gun companies. Even Ruger, the most innovative American gun manufacturer since World War II, has been playing catch-up to the likes of Glock, HK, Beretta, Blazer, SAR, and SIG. In the early 80s, the U.S. Armed Forces conducted a trial to replace the venerable 1911 pistol. An Italian gun came in first, Beretta, and a Swiss-designed German-made gun was second, SIG. In the mid-80s, some 90% of U.S. law enforcement officers carried Smith & Wesson revolvers, but a change came about with the introduction of a point-gun pull-trigger semi-automatic pistol from Austria. Glock never looked back and now controls an estimated 60% of the police force today, with SIG and Beretta taking sizable chunks from Smith's pie. Gaston and Helga Glock founded Glock KG in 1963 with money the newlyweds had saved to buy a home in Vienna, Austria. Instead, they bought land to build a factory to produce a gun Gaston had initially designed for the Austrian army. Today, the company supplies firearms to 2/3 of U.S. police departments and has a massive following among gun lovers. In a complaint filed in the federal court in Atlanta, Helga Glock said her former husband stole the company they built together by transferring 50% of it into a subsidiary firm, a move she says she did not know about until after the couple divorced in 2011. But she says Glock and his associates did not limit themselves to stealing 50% of Glock Incorporated. Instead, they set up an elaborate structure of domestic and international entities that was designed to steal much, much more. Helga Glock says the alleged scheme built upon what she says were improper royalty payments and money, laundered through, among other things, sham lease and loan agreement, was carried out in collaboration with defendant Charles Ewert, a Luxembourger nicknamed Panama Charlie because of his use of entities incorporated in that jurisdiction. Together, they developed a comprehensive plan for structuring and operating the so-called Glock Group in such a way that Glock Sr. and his associates would be able to systematically appropriate virtually all of the income and assets of the company for themselves. She says, adding, the Glock Group was created to and continues to operate as Glock Sr.'s alter ego. Helga Glock claims that to carry out their scheme, the defendants carried out a methodical, deliberate pattern and practice of conducting sham transactions over a period of decades, and that proceeds generated by these transactions were treated as the personal funds of Glock Sr. and his associates. All the while, Helga Glock says she was kept entirely in the dark. She says whenever she inquired about various transactions or royalty payments, her former husband would deflect her questions. I strongly hope you will trust me, won't you? She claims he said. Trust me, it's all for the family. Gaston Glock, 85, has since married his former nurse, Catherine Schickoff, who is 50 years his junior. Schickoff, who began caring for Glock after he suffered a stroke in 2008, is now on the firearm maker's advisory board. He also had a high-profile falling out with Ewert, who is now serving 20 years in prison in Luxembourg for arranging to have his former business partner murdered. Helga Glock says in her complaint that she doesn't know what led to the falling out between the two men, but that the two men had scheduled a meeting in July 1999 to settle their differences. Upon his arrival at the meeting, Glock Sr. was attacked with a mallet by an individual named Jacques Pitcher. Ewert, who was at the scene at the time, turned and ran away. The murder was intended to cover up a $100 million embezzlement of Glock company funds, the complaint says. Despite the incident, Helga Glock says her husband's reliance on a tangled web of fictive legal relationships, offshore business entities, and international financial transactions continued unabated, as did his penchant for spending. In a statement submitted as part of the case, Peter Manon, a former vice president of Glock, said his one-time boss spends money on mistresses, on houses, on sex, on cars. He bribes people. He's just a bad guy. In her complaint, Helga Glock claims her husband spends huge sums of money to entertain clients at strip clubs, that she and her children were tricked into giving away the rights to foundations now used to fund a horse farm where the Olympic show jumper London is stabled. Helga Glock says her husband spent $15 million on a 12-year-old silver medal winner as a gift for his new wife. In a footnote, she says the new Mrs. Glock plans to ride the horse in the Glock Horse Performance Center, which was built near the couple's home in Carinthia, Austria. She also says the couple intends to enter London in the 2016 Olympic Games, citing a report in the Austrian Times. In addition to at least $500 million in damages, Helga Glock seeks an order prohibiting her former husband from any future transfer, sale, or other disposition of any fraudulently obtained or stolen property, the disgorgement of the full amount of ill-gotten funds, the removal of all the defendants from roles with the company. By the time of the divorce, Gaston had already locked Helga out of the family mansion and sacked her 3 children, Bridget, Gaston Jr., and Robert, from the family business. Glock, who denied Helga's claim, said they had lived separate lives for years and managed to get her lawsuit dismissed last year. Now, while he rubs shoulders with celebrities, his daughter runs a pet shop, Gaston Jr. has a clothing business, and Robert owns a restaurant chain. Glock spends much of his time in his fortress-like mansion in Velden, where, despite the stunning views, he prefers a basement room from where he can oversee all aspects of the property from a Bond villain-type control panel. But rather than a sense of control, critics liken his behavior to the senseless and self-destructive rage of Shakespeare's tragic King Lear, who disowns his loyal daughter in favor of flatterers. The different kind of Glocks since it was created are the Glock 43. The Glock 43 is one of the most popular Glock models on the market. This is a single 9mm pistol and has a magazine capacity of 6 rounds. The size is a bit smaller than most other Glocks, allowing it to be hidden easily. However, it also fires a 9mm round instead of the slightly smaller but still popular 380 ACP round. It is a flat pistol, allowing it to be hidden comfortably and packs a big punch in a small package. The Glock G30SF is a relatively small gun that still packs a big punch. This gun fires large 45 caliber slugs on a target and has a high rate of fire. This gun is still small enough to be concealed easily, and this unique combination has made it popular. The large rounds mean that the gun doesn't have a substantial kick and might take some practice and getting used to. The Glock 42 has become one of the most popular options for a concealed carry. It fires intermediate-sized 380 ACP rounds and is readily available. This pistol is also relatively small, allowing it to be hidden easily. It has developed a reputation as a safe, reliable, and accurate weapon, suitable for personal and home defense. The Glock 22 fires 40 caliber bullets and has become popular for numerous police departments all over the country. As a result of its growing popularity in police forces, it has become popular for civilian use as well. It fires an intermediate-sized round and is popular for personal and home defense. The Glock 21 is likely what people envision when they think about a Glock pistol. It fires large 45 ACP rounds and has become popular in both sports competitions and with law enforcement personnel. While the gun is pretty large and is difficult to conceal, it is still effective on the range, in competitions, and for defense purposes. The large round certainly packs a punch. The Glock 27, in the eyes of many, has set the standard for the handgun market. This pistol is compact, allowing it to be hidden easily. Despite its small size, the handgun still fires 9mm rounds, allowing it to perform exceptionally well in both personal defense and home defense settings. It has become a favorite of those looking to conceal carry and has been used by law enforcement personnel. It is reliable, accurate, and easy to use, making it a popular choice. The Glock 17 got its name because it was the 17th patent produced by the company. The Glock 17 has staggered column or double stack magazines with a 17 round capacity, which can be extended to 19 with an optional floor plate. The sight arrangement is a fixed polymer combat style with a ramped front sight and a notched rear sight. The Glock 17 is a favorite of several law enforcement agencies and the F.B.I. The Glock 19mm Luger created for an adaptable role due to its smaller dimensions. The manufacturer will often refer to it as the compact Glock. The Glock 19's barrel and pistol grip are roughly 12mm shorter than that of the Glock 17, while still using a standard capacity 15-round magazine. The Glock 19 is often used as a service pistol by law enforcement and as a backup weapon or for concealed carrying. In 1996, the Glock 17T was designed by engineers to allow law enforcement the opportunity to train force on force without dangerous consequences. Over the years, Glock expanded the product range for smart and safe training and instruction equipment. In 1998, the third generation pistols got an accessory rail called a universal Glock rail to allow the mounting of lasers, tactical lights, and other accessories. Finger grooves and thumb rests were added to deliver better grip also. In 1999, the Glock 36 was introduced. With the new slim design, the G36 delivers grip ergonomics of the next dimension. A package with 6 rounds of 45 auto that fits into the hands of any user. Since 2013, the G36 frame also features the Glock accessory rail. In 2000, Glock opened a new headquarters and finished construction for work for the Millennium Factory in Dutch Wagram for more space to serve the ongoing demand for Glock products. In 2002, production started of the new Glock tactical lights. This resulted in a whole series of red dot laser, infrared laser solutions in addition to the standard flashlights. In 2009, the Glock Generation 4 models deliver more individuality with multiple backstraps, which can be mounted onto the frame, and a reversible magazine catch. The Generation 4 frame keeps the proven thumb rests, finger grooves, and accessory rail of the previous generations, but features a new frame texturing. In 2014 and 2015, production started of the Glock slimline pistols G42 in caliber 380 auto and the G43 in caliber 9mm Luger, the smallest Glock pistols so far. Also in 2014, Glock went east and a new subsidiary was founded in Slovakia. In 2016, production started of the Glock Generation 4 pistols in MOS configuration. MOS, which stands for Modular Optics System. The developed MOS system simplified the mounting of popular optical sights without costly custom machining of the pistol slide. In 2017, the Generation 5 combines the technology of the future with improved precision, versatility, speed, and a familiar reliability, starting with the models G17, Generation 5, and G19 Generation 5 Glock. In 2018, the first ever crossover pistol was introduced. The Glock 19X combined the best features of two of its most popular and most trusted field-tested platforms. In 2018, the G34 Gen 5 MOS was released. Simple mounting of popular optical sights for Gen 5 family member number 4. Also in 2018, Glock celebrates the 40th anniversary of the FM78 with a limited edition of 780 field knives. It comes in a silver polymer case with an engraved foam inside and a certificate which confirms authenticity. Also in 2018, the G45 is the latest outstanding addition to the family of Glock pistols in 9mm Luger. Utilizing the design and engineering Glock developed for its military pistols G19X, combined with operator and worldwide law enforcement specifications. With the G17 Gen 5 MOS and the G19 Gen 5 MOS, the already perfect Gen 5 model G17 and G19 additionally provide a mounting system for popular optical sights. In 2019, with the new silver slide pistols G43X and G48 Glock expands its slimline collection with 2 new products designed for concealed carry and fits every hand size. In 2019, the impressive G45 crossover pistol is now available with modular optic system and enriches the Glock MOS pistol spectrum. With the added mounting system for optical sights, it becomes the ideal partner for all kinds of situations. The 2 new models joined the Glock slimline family also in 2019. Chambered in 9mm Luger, both pistols feature a compact slimline frame with a slim mounting rail and black slide with NDLC finish, as well as a 10-round magazine capacity, making them ideal for concealed carry. Also in 2019 was the introduction of the first caliber 22 LR Glock pistol. The G44 features a polymer and steel hybrid slide, typical Gen 5 features, and a proven safe action system. The perfect pistol for beginners as well as experienced shooters. In 2020, Glock introduces the first optic-ready slimline pistol models. The G43X MOS and G48 MOS have slide cuts for specific micro-optics and features the slim design with rail and a built-in beaver tail, reliable Glock style for any concealed carry. Also in 2020, by applying the Gen 5 technology to the caliber 40 Smith & Wesson Glock, expands its pistol range with 5 pistol models available in the standard and MOS configuration. As of today, Glock is still leading in gun sales and is worth about $1.8 billion. This company was requested by John Bellini, who is an amateur boxer and supporter of this channel. If you enjoyed this video and want to be updated on new brands and companies, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And if you would like to hear about or have any new suggestions on any other companies you would like to hear about, please leave a comment in the comment section and I will definitely look into it. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more companies coming up.